something about some of these things that have gone on here. I do not know why they decided to single me out, but they did. And to this day, there has been no justice. There were crimes committed in this town. They were covered up in the courthouse and have been covered up ever since. And nobody wants to touch the people who did these things. And I'm speaking to you as a sworn enforcement officer or a protector of the Commonwealth of Virginia. We all, ladies and gentlemen, have a duty to this. It is our first duty, first. When we follow these principles, a lot of our problems are going to fall into place. Thanks, sir.
Any other questions for the sheriff?
Well, I got one thing to say. I've been in this county ever since I was a young girl. And I have worked around everywhere. My husband was a cop for 20 years. And I know what these young men go through. They do their best. But the people need to support them. If you see something that ain't right, by God, call somebody and they will get there. Because I have had some problems. And I have called, and they have come and listened to me. And they will. They'll be there to help you. But you've got to put yourself forward to help our people to do right and to do things right. And we've got one heck of a good sheriff's department. And I haven't had any trouble with your doggone one of them.
Did you have a question for the sheriff? Did you have a question for the sheriff?
No, I just want to let the people know.
I have a question that everybody else has asked there. Two-pronged question. One is, you're the chief law enforcement of the county. I mean, every sheriff is the chief law enforcement of this county. If the federal SWAT teams, and even the Department of Education has a SWAT team now, and I'm sure Fish and Wildlife and everybody else, do they have to clear it with you before they conduct a raid on somebody's residence or business or farm?
I have been called and notified on several occasions since I've been sheriff that they were going to execute a search warrant of a federal nature in the county. And I have gone out there and been present while they executed the search warrant. I have showed up after the search warrant has been executed, but I was on notice that it had happened. If they have a valid warrant signed by a federal judge or a federal magistrate, really a federal judge that they call a federal magistrate, if they have a right to search your property, I swore oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, and I believe that part says no home shall be searched without a warrant for probable cause, and if that warrant has been executed, filled out in a affidavit has been attached and sworn to for a judge, and the judge is issued, I would find no reason why not to assist them or either help them execute.
Suppose you find an error in the, let's say they've got the wrong address. I mean, you happen to know from your own experience that they have the wrong address or that the person they're looking for moved out 2 years ago.
If I knew for a fact that that person, and that's a very great what if, sir. That's a very great what if, whether that person was there or not. It's been my experience over 30 years. There are people who live there, and there's people that stay there, and that's a far difference. I would certainly seek and sit down and talk to the operations officer that is sworn in, and ask him why he really believed that person was there before we went and did that search. And I apologize. What was the second part of it? You did ask something else, and I lost my train of thought on the second question.
I don't think I asked this.
Well, no, it was a two-part question.
As chief law enforcement officer in the county, do you have oversight, or do you have, I don't know if this is what I already asked you.
It's mine.
You know, can you prevent or have any impact on what federal authorities do when they want to come in here and execute a warrant?
It's my understanding I do this.
I mean, you could stop it. If you knew it was wrong, let's say you just knew, let's say it was your mother's house. You know, the drug dealer lived next door, so there was no doubt in your mind it was, that they had the wrong house. Could you, and they said, aha, you must be one of them too, and they're gonna execute the warrant anyway. Would you have any ability to stand in the way and stop them?
I would make every effort to convince them that they had the wrong house. However, if they had the correct information and the correct 911 address on that house, based on the probable cause that judge had issued that warrant, I would not be happy about it, but I believe that they could lawfully enter that house, and that would be a bone of contention at the trial and no other time, is my belief.
My second question is, do you believe in or have you done anything in terms of citizen involvement? I mean, we're all supposed to be your eyes and ears, but in terms of training, ride-along programs, gun training. I mean, I belong to Arrowhead out here, but not everybody has access to a range.
Well, to answer your question, the sheriff's office in conjunction with an officer has assisted young people in obtaining their hunter safety courses. We have had a Citizens Police Academy. I believe this is the 4th, 5th, 7th. We've had 7. We're getting ready to have another one in September. While I'm on that, anyone who's interested, please call the sheriff's office. We're going to have a Citizens Police Academy. We're gearing up for it in September. We have done that in the past. We don't, for liability reasons, we can't allow people to come out and use, well, first off, it's a shared range between the sheriff's office and the Department of Corrections. And we have to ask permission from the Department of Corrections, Warden of Mecklenburg Correctional Center to use the facility. We've never been denied. We work very closely with the Department of Corrections. However, we can't be going and giving public citizens authority to go on that property and use that as a farm.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? We got, I believe, lots of food in the back. Before everybody runs out the door as you adjourn your part of the meeting.